Share market of life. All right. A very, very, very good morning to each and every one of you. I hope you had a great last night's sleep. I'm very much sure that you are all up and ready and energetic. So, right now it's 11:11. Sorry to delay you by 2 minutes, but nonetheless, I'll give you another 3 minutes. Get your coffee, get your water, get your pen, get your paper, notepad, get everything that you require for this particular session because there is a lot to discuss. So, all right, give me 3 minutes, or I will give you 3 minutes and we will revert back. All right. All right. So, still we have another minute or so. So till the other people are joining in, come on, tell me more about yourself. I hope you had a great night's sleep. I hope you're having a great morning. A very, very, very good morning to one and all. Come on, I want to see this today. I need to see as many people as possible to show me support in terms of typing. I want you to type. I want you to, use emoticons, emojis. You want to say good morning. You want to say hi, hello. You can say anything you want, but you have to make it more interactive. Remember, we are here to learn. We are here to discuss. We are here as a friend. So just make sure that you are all set and ready. We are going to begin in the next minute. So let's get started in a minute. I hope you all have got your pen, paper, and anything that is required, right? Get your coffee fast. I guess it's getting late, but anyways, quickly, if you haven't got anything, make sure you are sharp, you are all set, all right? And before we get started, a lot of you people were telling me that it's getting a little dull in here in terms of trading views. So let me make it white, all right, and let me change even the theme so that it's easier for people, because black signifies dullness. So I guess many people when they are looking at my trading view, they do come across as being a little too black. I prefer black. As you can see, I'm wearing black, but nonetheless, all right, nonetheless, we are all set to go. So as you can see, written down at the title, in the title of the YouTube live streaming, are the banks outperforming the other sectors in the Indian share market. But before we get into that, it's very important to understand what the Indian share market indices. There are only two Indian share market indices, the heavyweights. We got the NSE and we got the BSE, right? The NSE is the National Stock Exchange. The BSE is the Bombay Stock Exchange. NSE comprises of 50 companies. The BSE comprises of 30 companies. Now, before we get started, a quick introduction about myself. I am Harsh. I have been associated with the financial markets, especially the forex, the commodities, and the US indices, such as Dow Jones, S&P 500 for the last 8 years, right? 8 years. And it's been a long journey. I've had a whole lot of ups and downs, but I've always, used the time given to me as an experience, as a learning curve for me to improve my skills, because we as human beings are learning every single day. No matter whether we are 5 years old, whether we are 50 years old, whether we are touching 100, there is no person on earth who can say I have learned everything in life, because there is so much to learn and it is never ending, correct? So, having said that, here at Dolphin Markets, we make sure to do our best. We have a team of researchers, who do the research, who do the due diligence of certain stocks and shares to make sure that we are able to provide you with the best trading opportunities called as hot stocks, correct? Hot stocks is where we provide you with trading opportunities, trading ideas of particular stocks or even the indices, and we come across and give it to you. So it is a way of offering our services to you, beloved people, so that you can help in understanding that yes, this company, unlike any other company who are just into, selling their services. We do want to sell our services, but we are here to provide you with our offerings in terms of hot stocks, in terms of teaching, in terms of providing financial education, and it is very important. And the best part is that you are getting the best of both worlds. You're getting the hot stocks so you can make money, while we also provide you with trading education. So when you combine the two, it's poof, you get the best of everything. So as I was talking, coming back to Nifty, there has been a lot of pessimism, right? Though I am still optimistic, but the markets will do what the markets are supposed to do. Whether I have an opinion or whether you have an opinion, we as human beings always will have our own personal judgments, our own personal opinions, but the market doesn't take into account just Harsh or you as a valuable trader investor. So it is very important for everyone to understand the market functions as a whole. There are thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of transactions taking place from different sources, from institutions, from people, from HNIs, from UHNIs, from the list goes on. So the market takes into consideration everyone's opinion, all the transactions that have been transacted. All right. And it is very important to make sure that you pay attention to this. All right. All right. Give me a minute. I hope it's not a lazy morning for you. I need you to be more energetic, and please do comment. You have to show in more interest, because that's the only way that I can gauge, how much people are able to understand. All right, now as we're talking about Nifty, correct? So quickly, as we glance through Nifty, I had previously marked it in the last couple of sessions. Remember that we had marked this particular area. We still expect this to hold as a support area. Prices today have gapped down, all right? Now you need to be a little bit aware of something. I'm talking about the charts for now, but I will get back into the articles for why, I'm talking about this thing. So, as you can see, this is a very favorable area. Oops, let me put it black. So this has been a very favorable area where people are like trying to decide, whether it's going to hold or not. Generally at these kind of areas, and remember the value is 24,800. It is a pretty substantial level where people are, deciding, or people are being like, yes, let's front run. I mean, there are many terms and jargons used everywhere, but what I'm trying to say is we want to make sure that we get some kind of confirmation before we can decide. Remember, let the market show you direction before it decides or tells you, what it wants to do. So a lot of people who were expecting price to react from this area and continue are currently, facing a lot of heat depending upon whether they have put in their stop losses and all that. But prices will try to play around this area. Let's get back to some of the articles that I've come across where, as I had already mentioned it to you, there are several prominent websites such as Economic Times, Hindustan Times, Money Control, Life Mint, and so on and so forth. So let me type it out. All right. So a fresh challenge hit setting Dalal Street for the worst 2 months. For the worst month in 2 years. Again, people play with their wordings. It's no problem. We will decide what. But remember, the articles out here will be putting out their analysis, will be putting out their opinions. We just have to make sure that we read it through, understand what is happening, and then we get back. Stock market live updates. The Sensex is down 135 points. Okay, bearish pressure coming in. Nifty near 24,700. FMCG, what do you call it as? Food and manufacturing consumer goods and services, right? Sensex today, the mid cap and small cap indices are trading in red. Emphasis, ITC, BPCL, Tech Mahindra, and Nestle's are among the top losers as of now currently, while the gainers are Axis Bank, a banking company, Wipro, Aisha, Tata Motors, and HDFC Life, banking and insurance, right? So, as I had mentioned it to you and I had informed you on TradingView itself, like the index, right? When you look at the index, it is what? It is a weighted average of the top. It is a weighted average of the top performing companies, right? It's not one company, one sector. It is a culmination. It is an entire group of around 50 best performing companies and their weighted average. The more the companies are in red, the bearish the index is going to be. We are talking about the Nifty for now. Then we'll talk about Sensex. The majority of the companies are outperforming, the more bullish the index is going to be. So as a whole, the current sentiment is still bearish, and people are asking like, why Harsh? Why is it bearish? Why is it? Why is there so much of pessimism or kind of unsettling sentiment in the market? So I was doing my research and I came across this particular article as to the reason, and let me show it to you. These ads on these kind of web pages, the way they make money, maybe I don't know whether they're making money from the share market, but they're making a lot of money from the ads which keep popping up again and again and again. But nonetheless, all right. So Nifty, Sensex in red. Hello, Sophia. How are you doing? I hope you are doing pretty well. Thank you for joining us. It's always a lovely pleasure having you as our audience. Sensex Nifty in red as most sectoral indices drown in losses. Mr. Lee is again in the group chat. Hello, Mr. Lee. Ni hao. I hope you're doing well. So domestic equity benchmarks, Sensex and the Nifty tumbled on October 18. Remember today, all right, as broad sell-off gripped off the markets, FMCG, IT, oil and gas are spearheading the downfall. All right, in the Nifty amid the global cues and persistent FII selling. FII is nothing but foreign institutional investors, investments carried out by foreign institutions, right? Now, these are not like just people, these are like banks, institutions, financing companies which have a lot of capital with them, right? They manage, they trade off, they basically acquire, they sell water. You get the point. They are handling a lot of funds, correct? So as it's mentioned at 9:40 Indian Standard Time, the Sensex was down 386 points or zero point 0.5 of a percent, right? While the Nifty was 107 points or zero point 0.4. In the previous in the previous session, Indian benchmarks extended the losing streak. Like it had mentioned, right? I was talking about foreign FII. Let's just keep it simple. Sophia is telling yesterday's strategy paid off. Yes, Sophia, we will talk about it later, but right now let's focus on what the indexes are talking about. Right now, the markets have just opened a couple of hours before, so we want to be up and updated about what is currently happening. Why the markets are doing. We just need to find the clues. Those subtleties in understanding why there is pressure or why there is bearish pressure happening. So they are saying that the foreign institutional investors selling could last for a while, especially with the geopolitical factors like the India, Canada. I'm very much sure you all beautiful people must be reading the newspapers, so you are aware that there has been a lot of geopolitical unrest, not just between India and China, but also with what is going with Israel, Palestine, what is going on with Russia, Ukraine. So there has been a lot of political unrest going on. So with all these kind of uncertainties happening right now, it is very important to make sure that people are being a little skeptical, or I would say that people with big banks institutions, they are like, we just want to go with the flow with economies at the moment currently which are outperforming. All right. So one of the best well-known chief market strategists at GOG Financial Services, Mr. Anand James, right? He was telling that the Nifty's 3-day close. Remember, for 3 consecutive days, right? 3 consecutive days, prices have been tumbling. Prices have been bearish. Prices have been having a negative behavior towards the market sentiment. Like the BSE has dropped 0.5, the Nifty has dropped around 1 to 3%. While there are certain banks out there, I will get into it. We're going to talk about the Nifty Bank Index. All right, Nifty 50 is the benchmark, but there is not just one Nifty. You have various other. You have the Nifty Real Estate, you have the Nifty Banks, and so on and so forth. So though that particular Nifty sector has been performing pretty well today, and it is interestingly why. Now, when people talk about the reasons as to why there is so much of pessimism or kind of uncertainty in the Indian share market, there is a very important clue. A clue. People call it as clue. Some people call it as clue, but you get the point. The points that we are trying to consider here is the Asia Pacific markets have rose as key economic data from China and Japan's inflation numbers. So China's third quarter GDP growth rate came out at around 4.6, still lowest, falling short of Beijing's 5%. One of the main reasons that I had come across for this was the FIIs are trying currently, because of the uncertainty going on, they're trying to push or pull their money temporarily from the Indian markets, and they're trying to park it in the Chinese markets where they're getting better returns, or they just want to they have more confidence right now with all the improvements and the adjustments that are taking place in the Chinese economy, and just want to most of them, if not all, are even trying to take a step back, and they're trying to be like what, right now it's more better to be cash surplus. I mean, I hope you all understand what cash surplus means. Rather than putting it into debt, they just want to be cash strapped for now, just waiting for the right moment, for the right opportunity, or for the right for the geopolitical unrest that is going across the globe to settle down, and then they will again inject the capital markets with the funds required. So you can use this as a homework or as a task. I don't like calling it as homework because homework sounds boring, and then people are like, what now? We had homework in school, we had homework in college, we had homework given by our parents, our teachers. So more of a task, and this task is not just for me, it's for you, because the more you interact with me, the more you connect with me, the more it is important. A very short sorry from my side. I wasn't showing the right screen, but just make sure that when you are starting your day, especially, since I'm operating from Dubai, we start at 11:10 Indian Standard Time. So you people are way ahead of us, and you can be much more prepared in terms of the news events or the articles that have been published on all these reputed websites, right? You have Money Control, you have you just go and type on Google the latest Indian share market news. It is very important to be aware of these things. See, one part of it is the fundamental, and the other part is the technical. But you need to have an umbrella of the two. For having understanding about it, you need to be aware of what is the entire market sentiment about. Now, you cannot understand the market sentiment by looking at just fundamentals or just looking at technicals. In order to understand market sentiment, at a very basic level, it is very important that you go on like these web pages like Google, Bing, whichever you are comfortable with. Go and read every day. Make it a habit to spend around maybe 5 to 10 minutes to go through, understand, what is the sentiment. Is today's sentiment on the bullish side or the bearish side? The more you start reading, the more you will understand why things happen, and then you can start connecting the dots. The more dots are connected, the more clarity you get. The more clarity you get, the more well informed you are. And the more well informed you are, the better trade decisions you can make. So coming to Bank Nifty, as I was telling, yes, going back to Trading View, I hope you all are aware. All right, before I go to Trading View, just making sure, go to these kind of websites. We got Live Mint. All right, we got Money Control. You can just type latest Indian share market news, and some of the most prominent websites will always be at the top. All right, Money Control, Economic Times, Live Mint, Business Today, CNBC. Right, they are, the list goes on and on. But we don't want to focus on everything. We just want to focus on, 3 to 4 or 3 to 5, to get an overall gist, to get an overall estimation of everything. Correct. Moving on, before I move on, it's very important for me to keep interacting with you beautiful people, because if I'm getting the interaction from you beautiful people, that will make me understand that, yes, I'm explaining things to you in a manner that you are able to understand. There are many people out there who are introverts also, who are like, I'm shy to ask questions or clear my doubts. Don't be shy. This is your time to improve. Remember, like I said, we all are humans. We all make mistakes. It is our part, it is our duty to make sure that we push ourselves into the unknown, into the uncomfortable zone, and make sure that we keep working. That's the only way you can get stronger, better. All right. When we were talking about the Nifty, quickly, the Nifty Bank, right? The Nifty Bank, like the Nifty Index, like the Nifty Index has 50 companies, the Nifty Bank has 12 companies. 12 of the best banks, right? So right now, as you can see, the Nifty Bank is sitting at 51,555, right? And the sector is particularly being active because of some of its heavyweights, such as, there are many banks, right? HDFC, Birla, and but it's more about Axis. There is a very interesting tool that I use, and I thought it might be beneficial for you to let me show to you on TradingView itself. It's called as a heat map. Heat map is basically It would be a chart with all the depictions of an index. So an index will have certain companies. Those companies will show all their shares or stock markets, individual stocks, and it will show you in a particular color that will depict, the intensity of whether it is overperforming or underperforming. Let me quickly see if I can find it over here. Yes, here are the heat maps. So you have, heat maps for forex. You have heat maps for commodities. You have heat maps for indices. So a typical heat map, right? This is the typical representation of a heat map. This is how a heat map looks. In simple terms, you have the sectors, right? I'm sorry, I'm just showing. We will get back to the English share market, or you know what? Let us just get back. Because I don't want to make it complicated. Oh my gosh, I'm seeing too many things on my screen. Or some people would be like, wow, it looks nice. Everyone has a different outlook, right? So we were talking about the Nifty, right? So the Nifty 50. This is how the Nifty 50 as a whole looks. You'll have all the 50 companies listed over here, and they are represented in a very colorful and in a very image centric manner, so that people are able to connect and able to pick up. The bigger the size of the box, the bigger the share, the weightage of that stock in that particular sector, and the bigger the share, the more influence it has on how the index performs. Correct. So HSBC, look at Reliance, right? We were talking. Look at TCS, Tata Consultancy Services, Bharat Airtel. The small ones like BPCL, I mean, comparatively, the smaller ones, they have a lesser percentage or the weightage on the Nifty is less compared to the big bank. So we were talking about the ones that are performing, right? Remember, like I said, you will find a couple of them in red because the overall sentiment of the Nifty, like the majority of those individual stocks, shares, stocks on the Nifty are underperforming, right? We're going to remove this. You have these columns where you can play with the percentages to see. So we have Axis Bank. I mean, look at the banking sector. If I'm having a quick glance of everything, you can see my cursor. The moment you click on it, it will take you to the individual stock, and it will even show you its performance and values, and it will take you to the chart also. Axis Bank, compared to all the other companies that I can see right now on my screen, Axis Bank is flying through the roof. Now, Axis Bank, let's quickly go and see why Axis Bank, from a technical perspective, is doing so well. Again, being the banking sector, every sector has its own phases, of appreciation and depreciation. The banking sector right now is kind of spearheading, at least in the Nifty sector, in terms of outperforming compared to the majority of those which are, underperforming. Now, the majority of those are underperforming because, like I had mentioned, it's FIIs, foreign institutional investors. These investors currently are being a little skeptical about, okay, maybe we want to invest in India, we want to invest in Indian share market, we want to invest in the index, we want to invest in our individual stocks. But please bear in mind, people, when it comes to money, it's always about being smart. It's not just about being like heart centered. You need to be brain centered too, mind centered. The correct word is mind centered. People want to be smart. People want to make sure that they are safeguarding their personal interests first in terms of financial capabilities, and then comes secondly about how we can do to the economy. Eventually, everything is interconnected and they work in tandem. So we have this, as you can see, Axis Bank, correct, and. This can be a nugget for you too. The reason is, look at it on the monthly time frame. I hope everyone is able to see my screen. We only have two people, Sophia and Lee. I'm pretty much sure there are many other people out there who would be interested or who are logged in but are not, being too active. I kindly request you all, please be more active, and we are here to learn. If you have any queries, if you have any doubts, if you want me personally to look into something, please do let me know, and I will try my best to accommodate as many questions as possible. All right. So coming to Axis Bank, I mean, this is one of the most prominent banks in India. Right now, yes, it is overvalued. Remember, we are on what time frame? We are on the monthly time frame. Remember, monthly time frame is more about just to show you an overall picture. Remember, a couple of days earlier, I guess around 2 days earlier, we were talking about the helicopter view and the ground view. So a quick summary of what it is. When you look from a helicopter point of view, you can see the overall view, right? You can see the bigger picture, right? The 70 mm, right, as we call it in Mumbai, when we go to watch movies and cinemas. I mean, everyone watches cinema, right? So, but when you come back and look at it from a ground view, or basically when you look at it from your TV or your monitor, it's small, it is very constricted. You need to have a bigger picture first to understand, and then we slowly, trickle down into the lower time frames, trickle down, as in zoom in. First, we start off from a zoomed out position, and then we zoom in, understanding the nitty-gritties, the intricate movements, the subtleties of why price is behaving the way it is. So as you can see from the monthly time frame, very strong company, very strong management, strong financial statements, right? The data has been robust. That is the reason. Yes, they will have these eminent correction phases too. Remember, companies are run by people like you and me. Those people are not born on Mars or Venus or Pluto. They are born on Earth, correct? So they have the same emotions, They will be very smart, no doubt on that. But at the same time, they come with their own baggage of emotion. So, it's not that just everything is going to be smooth sailing all the time. You're going to have good patches, you're going to have bad patches, rough patches, in simple. Right now, price is sitting at 1192. Remember, as I had already mentioned, prices are been, it's a very exponential and a strong movement to the upside, right from the year of 2009 or 2007 to the current 2024. So a price from where it started approximately around 70-ish, 80-ish to a level of 1193. You all have calculators, you can do the calculation to see the returns, right? Anyways, now I'm talking from a technical perspective. Let's go to the daily time frame. As you can see from the daily time frame, the prices have been, strengthening over time. A quick technical overview of what prices have been doing. The prices have been creating and clear highs. Correct. Moment the highs get taken out, a new higher high gets formed. Right. If this is a high, this becomes a higher high. Right. And so on and so forth, and it continues higher. Remember, the trends are holding. Trend is your best friend till the bend at the end. It's a very common thing. This is what I had learned from one of my mentors from the US. He says the trend is your friend till the bend at the end, right? The way it rhymes, it's so beautiful. Sophia asks, teacher, is there a strategy today? Sophia, we are into looking at it right now. There might be something that I am kind of interested on Axis Bank. If you're talking in terms of hot stocks, no, we don't have a hot stock yet. But since I'm looking at Axis Bank, I think there is potential for this particular stock to have some kind of a setup coming in soon. All right. So a quick removal of everything. We're talking about Axis Bank. If I had to draw a path, all right, the path from, oh, since I was using black, remember, the color has been. I used to use white drawings. Now that white drawings are finished, now that I have a white background, I'm using a white drawing. It kind of becomes invisible. So let me change the color, right? Give me a moment. All right. So now, using my arrow method, the prices to indicate swings, because me being a technical trader, having major focus on technicalities, I'm going to talk from a technical point of view. Prices have been creating clear swings to the upside, right? Now, please understand, these are uniquely internal swings, but when you look at the major swing, correct? Let me denote it by the arrow. It's been up, all right? Now that prices have been coming to an area of interest, it was the structure kind of pretty much resembles the one that we had seen on Nifty, correct? When it comes to this, is like I had mentioned before, a place of support, right? Generally, consensus suggests or past data, thousands, hundreds of thousands of back testing has shown that when these prominent levels, when prices return to these prominent levels, prices generally hold, and then prices continue, to go above or to go bullish. So, like I mentioned, this was the overall big swing, right? The overall arrow, that the notion that depicts that the prices have been going up right now. As you can see, let me draw the arrows here. The prices have started to give a strong correction. The prices have gone up and down, and now it's kind of created like a double bottom. These are terms that we use as technical traders, correct? So as you can see, let me denote it by the color so that it's more easier for people to understand. The green indicates that the prices have been bullish, right? The bigger, the major, or there are different words. So let us just keep it as the major trend and the minor trend. So the major trend will be denoted by this arrow mark, correct? It's been bullish, and these are the minor trends. Now, internally, as you can see, prices have been correcting themselves, but since the major trend is still bullish, we do expect prices to keep continuing higher, and prices right now have been giving this kind of correction. Let me denote this particular correction as red. I hope you all can see the drawing that I have. Perfect. Okay, right now I hope people are getting a gist about it, right? This is how the chart looks. Now I'm kind of trying to zoom in. I'm going to remain on the same time frame, right? We are looking at the daily charts, and we come on and we focus on what the price is right now showing over here. As I had mentioned earlier, price had created a low, a pivot low, and then a price had created another pivot low. Now, as you can see, today's candle, it's just shooting up. Remember, for unwanted reasons, the Nifty has been taking a hit, the BSE has been taking a hit, but this Nifty bank, especially Axis Bank, is a heavyweight contender in the bank, in the Nifty bank company list, right? It has a very heavy weightage. So it is outperforming. And here is where I would definitely suggest, to keep an eye on this, because there is potential for it. The terminal, or the technicality that is, or the reason behind this particular technical analysis for this chart has been because if I zoom out again, a quick recap is prices have been bullish, right? I showed you on the monthly, weekly, and we are right now on the daily time frames. Prices have been bullish. Prices have significantly corrected. Remember, when price corrects, the price that was expensive, right? I had given you the example of oranges, correct? You don't want to buy oranges which are very expensive. You want to buy oranges when prices, keep reducing. They are given to you at a discount. The more discount you get, the more tendency for people to buy. So it makes sense to look at this area rather than people who would be like, no, let's buy it on the top. Remember, you want to buy smartly. You don't want to buy when everyone is buying. The best time to buy is when people are buying. That is the time to be cautious, and when people are selling, that is the time, that is the opportunity to buy. As the greatest of the greatest investor, Mr. Warren Buffett, says, when people are greedy, Be smart. Greed and I forgot the sentence. Let me quickly check it on Google because it is a very important sentence, a very important quote that Warren Buffett had said. So he talked about when people are when people are fearful, be greedy. When people are greedy, be fearful, right? So he says basically do the opposite of what the major consensus does. Coming back to the technical aspect of this particular chart, as you can see, prices have been in an uptrend, right? As you can see clearly now, while zooming in and looking at the structure that we are currently seeing on this particular time frame, remember the chart is still the current candle, this candle, as you can see the vertical line, it is still currently running, right? This is today is Friday, so the candle, the markets are open, right? So the candle is still fluctuating, right? It's going to take into factor all the transactions that are happening today to make sure. Sophia asks, shall we enter? No, Sophia, we do not enter. We hold. We want to be smart. We don't enter just because it is going high. We want prices to come back. We want prices to retrace back. We call it as, let price come into our favorable price area. Currently, prices right now, we want prices. Let me change the color so that people are aware about what I'm telling and they don't get confused between the two. I'm using blue color red, right? Right now, prices over here, we want price to come back to the neckline, right? This area, which is going to be around the 1190, right? Around 1190-ish area. This particular trading strategy, which is called as double top, when price closes, remember it's very important for price to close. There are times when the price manipulates, creates a lot of movement up and down. Since there is strength coming in, let price come to this area, which is going to be again. Remember, it is always an area. It is never going to be a line, right? So an area around 1190. Maybe price can come even deeper, but the structure. Let me denote it with a box because box shows an area, whereas a line signifies more of okay. This is the entry, this is the exact entry. We do not believe in exact entry. We always, because the markets, we don't know what the markets are going to do, but we just want to make sure that we are entering at a favorable area, which is favorable based on our trading strategies, our intentions, right? Here. So this is the entire area. Let prices come deeper into it. As I had mentioned, as you can see my blue color arrow, this favorable area, since it is a very prominent company, right? Axis Bank, I'm sure many of you beautiful people living in India are aware, like, you would not even have to think twice before, like, is there a bank called as Axis Bank? No one thinks about it because it is present everywhere. People are aware. Yes, it's a private bank and it is doing phenomenally well, correct? So this particular strategy where prices are trying to have created a double bottom and prices are retracing inside. Let prices come back. No, we do not buy. So please, Sophia, make sure that you are not buying right now. Let the prices retrace. Remember the prices. All right, it is very important, and I need to stress this. It is very important. Prices never go in one direction. All right, as I hope you all can see my arrow. Perfect. Prices never travel in one direction. Prices always travel in, or not travel, but prices always flow in phases. ठीक है, phases, it means that you will have phases where price is going up. You are going to have phases where prices are going down. You will have phases where prices are going up. You will have phases when prices are going down. It goes up and down. It can never go in one direction. So we expect or we want prices to come into our favorable area. Favorable areas such as, let me first explain to you from a hypothetical scenario, like from an educational point of view, and then we will look at the charts. When prices are going and prices are here, for example, I hope you can see the orange circle that I have marked. I need to keep checking, right? Because many people would be like, who are not well accustomed to what I'm talking or where to look at. So let me know if anything is happening. If people are feeling a little sleepy, I want you all to get up. I want you to make sure that you all are lively, energetic. The information that I'm providing to you, for some it might be less, we are aware, but for a lot of you, I'm very much sure that this is something new for you. This is something where we are like, wow, there is so much to financial trading, and that is what my main motive is over here, so that I can provide you with the right set of information, so that you can learn from it and you can improve in your own ways. All right, as I was talking about this particular area, if you can look at my arrow, currently based on the current practical example that we have, prices have been, have been becoming expensive. Prices, the trend, the swing is bullish. We want prices to retrace back, because we want to get a better price. The better the price, the more we can let it run. So let prices come a little deeper. Mr. Lee, I love when he sends those red emojis which are like looking at like this, like oop, or like this. I don't know what it means, but I keep telling Mr. Lee, like, write down what is the meaning of that, but he doesn't say. Anyways, so coming back to what we were talking. So currently, based on this Axis Bank example, prices are somewhere, over expensive. Let the prices start to retrace back down, and once prices start retracing back down, we want to enter, at a better price, so that we can again ride back. If you enter higher, your risk to reward, these are technical terms that we will be talking later, but your risk to reward shrinks. We don't want our risk to reward to shrink. We want it to expand. We want to make more for how much we risk. So let me remove these drawings. Oops. And coming back to the current example, right? Now, this is a real stock. This is the real trading scenario. Now we are talking about real market analysis over here. If you can look at this particular area, correct? Prices have been creating a double bottom. Prices have been rallying up. So as you can see, my blue arrow, that is the area of interest. If you want, I will clearly denote it for you. Let me denote it for you. So now entry, let me give you a range. Okay, I'm not going to give you exact. I'm not going to give you a single level. I'm going to give you a range. All right. So it's going to be entry around 1180. As you can see, 1180 is over here. Let me put a horizontal line so people are visually they can see the line. Here it's the black color line, right? So around 1180. And where do we expect prices to go to? We expect prices to continue higher. So our target is going to be around this area. And again, I'm going to talk about target one, all right? So target one is going to be this area, and target two is going to be this area. Let me denote it with rectangles, because they are areas of interest that we expect prices to react from. So target one is going to be somewhere here in this area. Let me change the color to green. I'm trying to be more systematical with the color coordinations that we are using, so it's easier for you to understand. I normally use blue as an area of interest for entries. Whenever we have blue color boxes, they generally suggest that that is a significant area for entry. And when it is green, that is your target one. That is where you can at least aim for. And then you're going to have target two. And target two is going to be this area, and that I will highlight it in yellow because it is further away. Remember that the more further away, the more the lesser the probability for price to go, but the more money you make in case it goes. Remember, the markets are going to do what they are supposed to do. We cannot control the markets. What we can do is we can flow with what the smart money is doing. Smart money are the big banks, the big institutions, banks like Axis, Axis it's one of the biggest what do you call, biggest players, when it comes to smart money. So they are pretty much aware of what they expect prices to do. And I'm pretty much confident for this particular trade. Entering around 1180. Target at around this level. A target 1 at around the opposite side of this particular swing. And target 2 at around this particular swing. Let me take a screenshot because I need to use this. And coming to all you beautiful people, I hope you are getting an understanding. Remember, we are not here to just, boost about, we know everything about the markets, or only we know and none of you know. We are here for you people, right? If we can do our part in, providing you with the right set of information, with providing you with the right set of guidelines, right? In terms of providing you with the right set of skills, we just don't want you to be a follower, we want you to build trust. We want you to build trust with us, and then you will be like, wow, this is the first company, Dolphin Markets has been the first company I have come across where they provide brokerage services, they provide hot stocks, they provide opportunities for people like you to make money, as well as they provide financial education. I'm like, there is nothing better, than this particular scenario, because you are getting the best of everything. You are getting the best services, you're getting the best customer support, you are getting the best stocks for trading, you're getting the best education. I'm like, what else do you require, So I hope you all are having a good time. Please, comment down, type it. Whenever I keep typing, I think I'm like a zombie, walking. Type down. Say you are learning. You understand. Remember, the markets are going up. The markets are going down. The markets are going to do what it eventually will do. We just have to make sure that we are learning, we are making improvements in our lives, we are doing what is necessary for making ourselves better, correct? So I hope you have taken the screenshot of this Axis Bank setup, I hope, and you can use it, for people who haven't taken the screenshot yet or who do want to take a screenshot, please do so. I'm giving you 5 seconds, all right? Come on, quickly, go take a screenshot. Let me show you how to take a screenshot. You see the snapshot over here? Click on this. Click on take a snapshot. Once you click on take a snapshot, you either can download the image. Oh, sorry. So downloading the image will save it as a PNG, right? JPEG PNG file. So you can use it for later. Like you can save it as a file, or you can copy the image. If you copy the image, it ships. You can just copy paste it to, maybe if you want to send it to a friend of yours, or you wanted to send it to your own profile on WhatsApp, Telegram. I don't know how people are using Snapchat. So you can copy the image and directly paste it over there, or you can copy the link. So Once you copy the link will be a hyperlink, correct? The hyperlink can be pasted in a mail, or you can use it whichever way, or you can open it in a new tab or tweet it. I'm like, how many of you are on Twitter? I am not. I am on Twitter, but I don't use it much. Twitter is basically used by people who are, like the elite, like Donald, President Donald, and Mr. Narendra Modi, and like all the big personalities are on Twitter. So Twitter TradingView has given you an option of Twitter, like tit for tat, right? TT TradingView, Twitter. All right. Hope everyone has taken a screenshot of this particular stock. All right. Now let's go back and see something else. Please make sure, yeah, to use this heat map. When, yeah, for many people who are hesitant in terms of like, Harsh, yeah, you are explaining very well, but sometimes I feel you are going too fast, or if I'm going too slow. So I need to have your feedback, right? The more feedback I get, the more I'm able to understand. The more I'm able to understand, the more I can reciprocate, I can analyze, I can adjust. Correct? No one is perfect. You are not perfect, neither am I. And like I say always, when Harsh is here, there is nothing to fear. Correct? When Harsh is here, there is nothing to fear. So when you want to go, and there was a question before for people asking Harsh how to use the heat map. We forgot how to use it. So when you go on to TradingView, generally when you open TradingView, you're going to have a chart. As you can see on the right hand side, you have this column, right, where you have the watch list. It's called as the watch list, correct? So the watch list can have ample number of indices. It's up to you. You can go and change it. All you have to do is go, either you add a symbol, remove a symbol, you can put whatever is required. So you click on this, it minimizes it. You want the heat map. So click on this positive icon. Once you click on the positive icon, you will get an overview of TradingView, all right? Because we are on super charts. Super charts are nothing but the advanced charting platform for TradingView, correct? So we go on to, we don't click on super chart. We scroll down, all right? And then you have heat maps. You even have newsflow. There is TradingView is like an ocean. There's so much of information that TradingView provides. For anyone who is not using TradingView, please, I highly, highly, highly recommend you to download TradingView. It will save you, or let me say, it will save your soul. All right, it's a very common terminology used back in the US. So what we are mainly focusing on are heat maps, right? Heat maps are very important. All you have to do is click on the heat map. Once you click on the heat map, you will have this option, heat maps. Get a bird's eye view of key asset classes, stocks, ETFs, or crypto. Wow, coming across crypto, you all are in for a treat, because in the next webinar, or maybe the next to next webinar, but today we are going to look at crypto also. Personally, I am not a big fan of crypto. I've had my own reasons behind it, but everyone, especially for the last couple of years, with the huge expansion of crypto, when Bitcoin was, I still remember when Bitcoin was around, I guess $100 around 7 8 years back. I was in college. I was undertaking my bachelor's. For people who don't know, I am having a bachelor's in business administration from Manipal University, Dubai. So I've studied in a university in Dubai itself. It's a well-reputed university. So during that time, when I was when I just started to get aware about what the financial markets are, I vaguely, I kind of like, it's not very clear to me, but I remember at that time that people used to talk about, oh, okay, now there is something called as Bitcoin. I mean, I'm very much sure all of you would be very much aware about it. Now, this Bitcoin, was trading At that time, I'm talking about 10 to 8 years, yeah? So we go back in time. It was trading around $100 for one Bitcoin. Can you believe that? For people at that time who were like, we don't know what Bitcoin is, or because the concept of cryptocurrency, it was spearheaded by Bitcoin. Bitcoin was the first prominent company or institution out there who started to, understand that in the near future, as in we are talking about maybe, around 20 years, 50 years, 100 years down the lane, we will not be having physical cash. Today we still use notes, right? We use rupee notes, we use dirham notes, we use dollar notes, we use pound notes, we use yen notes, we use Chinese yuan notes. So but down the lane, into the future, everything is going to be electronic. As you can see, there was a time when people used to use papers, for writing letters, for sending letters. Now everyone uses a mobile phone, correct? Everything is becoming electronic. Everything is becoming fast paced, everything is becoming electronic. So currencies also are going to become electronic. And the major reason, why people were keen or interested about getting into, or were interested about this cryptocurrency space was because they wanted to take out the influence of the banks. There has been a lot of red tape with policies about what banks are talking about, how they kind of manipulate, and there has been a lot of partiality. Let me keep it very simple. There has been a lot of partiality from the banks, from the big banks and institutions all across the globe when it comes to money, right? It's like the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer, correct? Let me repeat that phrase again. The rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. So there has to be some kind of propaganda, or, the Illuminati, like many people talk about that, right? So there is a certain group of people out there. I might be wrong, right? But this is what I have understood for myself, or the amount of research that I've been doing. So they have that grasp over the world economics and all. So basically, what people were trying is like, if we take out the banks from from being the middleman, from being the facilitator, and getting into crypto, because crypto is not managed by banks. It is managed by each and every transaction, and each and every transaction is, allocated onto a script that everyone is aware about. So I'm not too clear about the technicalities of how Bitcoin works or cryptocurrency works, but this is the overall gist that I've understood. So there is no government intervention in Bitcoin. The sources might be hidden, but the path, or the the history of the transactions are embedded. Everyone knows everything, what is where and how. People do not know the paths to which money is going, and that is another reason that Bitcoin or crypto has been used uh, heavily across the globe for all kind of illicit, illegal activities. Arms, drug smuggling, peddling, and all those kind of things. So there has been a lot of push and pull, in the cryptocurrency space. And that has been one of the main reasons why I have stayed away from crypto. But when especially Bitcoin, from 100, it shot up to how much? Let me just show it to you on the chart. It's very important for me to make you aware about this. We will talk about it more in detail maybe in the coming sessions. Don't worry about it. Let's talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin. I'm not going to look at the daily, I'm going to go to the monthly because I want you to understand its intensity. Yeah. All the way back around, 2019. Remember, this is a particular broker, markets.com. If you click on Bitcoin, you have so many Bitcoin. Yeah. I mean, plus or minus the values of the Bitcoin will remain the same. So for this particular market, the data feed goes back to the year 2019. I'm very, very sure that Bitcoin was, in its inception has been maybe the year 2006, 2010. So it goes back way beyond, right? Though we don't have the data, the data over here starts around Feb 19, but it goes way beyond back. All right. Anyways, nonetheless, look at the value for something. And one second. Wait, let me use another Bitcoin because I clearly remember the prices have been quite less. Anyways, what I was trying to say, the prices which were in three digit numbers were shooting all the way till 64, 65,000. Now, if you do your maths and you figure out the return on investment, my goodness, like there are kids out there, who had like bought one Bitcoin, two, three, maybe five, some had bought hundreds. They had no idea what Bitcoin was about. They had a gist. Okay, they had a little bit of idea, I would say, of what Bitcoin is, but they never understood that Bitcoin is going to outperform so much. So when something outperforms, everyone looks at it. Everyone is like, why? Everything, starts to go in for a flush. We call it as flush. And the people who are who do a little bit of gambling. I don't do gambling, but I'm aware of the word. So flush, flush is when everything gets flooded, right? The moment for reasons when the banks, when the institutions, they were like, this particular sector has a benefit or has potential. The amount of investments that people, institutions from all across the globe have been making skyrocketed to all time, like look at the massive movement, from prices ranging around, I might be wrong because I was under the infusion it's 100, and as I had mentioned, it goes way beyond time. So during its inception of Bitcoin, I'm very much sure it has been around $100, 100 maybe $200 per Bitcoin. When it shot up to levels of 61, as you can see on the right hand side, you have the price level, right? So it shot up all the way to levels of how much? 68. I mean, look at that. Look at the crazy amount of, people. So Bitcoin has been a big craze and people are like, we want Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. And there were kids out there, kids, students who were studying, who were in college and, when they had bought it so many years back. Because Bitcoin is a virtual currency, right? It's a virtual form. It's not currency. It's a virtual form of currency. So you don't have the physical it's not like paper that you can carry it in your purse. It needs to have a wallet. All right, it needs to have a digital wallet, not a physical wallet, but a digital wallet. And there was some reports or some news, some interesting news that people who had like 100 bitcoins, they lost it. They lost their drive because a digital wallet is nothing but a USB. So they lost that USB, their digital wallet, and what they had, around 100 or 50 bitcoins. I mean, if they could have sold it or if they would be holding on to it, look at the amount of money. There were kids, kids. I'm talking about teenagers, out here. Teenagers having 100 or 50, maybe 10, 20, some of them maybe having more. And all of them, like when this kind of gold rush, we call it as a gold rush, when prices escalate heavily in one direction, when such kind of gold rush happens, I mean, everyone wants to jump on the bandwagon. Everyone wants to be like, I want to get in, I want to get in, I want to get in. And look at the movement prices. So kids who had bitcoins a couple of years back are right now having mansions, having their own private jets. They have their G Falcons and everything. They have the Lamborghinis, they have the Rolls Royces. And I was like, damn, because the market, I'm not too sure about the fundamentals behind Bitcoin, but the way the prices had moved was so escalating and so enticing that everyone wanted to jump. And when the slump took place, when there was a huge correction, maybe because when the federal government, because US is apparently predominantly the leader when it comes to world economics and military power. So when the federal governments of the US and even the other developed and developing nations came in and they were like, no, we have to put a stop on Bitcoin because there is too much of noise, there's too much of misinformation, there's too much going on, and the moment they started implementing policies, and we had this major slump. So there were many people who had bought Bitcoin when it was at 50,000, 60,000. Imagine price of Bitcoin falling from 60,000 to 15,000. Look at that drawdown, 76%. That is a nightmare for many people out there. I mean, look at it. But again, remember, as I had mentioned to you in the earlier seminar, webinars too, that when price corrects, remember the trend has been what? It's been in an uptrend. When price goes in an uptrend, there is strong correction taking place. Prices are coming back to the favorable area, to low areas, correct? An area, it's not a level, it's an area. Prices are reacting and they are holding that area. And then prices go and are creating higher highs. Remember, the price is going to create even a higher high. It's all technical based. When people say, should we follow only fundamentals? Should we follow only technicals? I'm like, you need to follow both. And there is a third factor, as I had mentioned in the morning. You need to be aware of the consumer sentiment. What are people overall thinking about the markets? What are people overall thinking about what is to be expected, what is not to be expected? So you need to be aware of all the three factors. Let me write it down to you, right? Things to be aware about. First point, consumer sentiment. This would be in the form of news. This would be formed in the form of blogs. You get my point, right? In the form of media. Then you have second point. Second point is going to be fundamentals. Now, fundamentals are going to be based on what? You're going to ask me, Harsh, what are fundamentals? Fundamentals are nothing but, balance sheets or data, financial data. Let me just keep it simple. Financial data. All right, it includes everything: your balance sheet, your accounting stuff, and all those things. Then the third, remember, I'm just putting it in an order. It's like each of them have their own weightage. It's not like, oh, if Harsh is writing consumer sentiment first, it has to be only consumer. It has to be a culmination of everything. You have to look at everything. The third point, right, is going to be technicals, right? Now, technicals. When I'm talking about technicals, I'm talking about the charts. All right, the charts, the markets, correct? So, for people who are, wanting to take a screenshot of this, can please take it. It is of very vital information because you cannot just look at one thing, one picture, and then get a whole understanding of what is going to happen. You need to connect the dots. I'm repeating it, and I'm stressing on this word. You need to connect all the dots. It's a saying, correct? You need to connect all the dots. So, let me give you a quick recap of what I was talking to you about today. We started off with the Nifty. Yes, Nifty. Let's go to the Nifty. The markets are still running. Let's quickly just have a quick glance before we end up this session today. So as you can see, remember I told you in the morning also, when prices are at important levels, when prices are going to come across important levels, there is going to be a lot of manipulation taking place. So this particular area, which was already mentioned, has been facing a lot of manipulation. We call this area as, it's called as an area of manipulation. this area of manipulation. Now look at how prices gapped down, but now they're kind of showing bullish power. Remember, people, it is an index. It is indicating the strength of an economy. You are very much sure India has been progressing very much for the last couple of years. So we believe, come on, we are Indians. If we are not going to support the Indian index and the individual stock, who else is going to support? Correct. At the moment, yes, the foreign institution, uh, foreign institution investors are residing. They just want to be safe from their point of view, so they are getting into China, into the Southeast Asian economies where they find it to be a little more stable. But nonetheless, like we say it in India, apna time aayega. Okay. So coming back to it, the Nifty has been taking a fall, but you can see the strong correction taking place. Then we were talking about the Nifty as an index, but the majority of the companies are not performing well or are down performing. But there are certain sectors like the banking sector, the IT sector, Wipro is doing pretty well. Axis, that's how the heading of today's live session had started. Axis is killing it at 5%. It's crazy. Just because an index is not performing well doesn't mean that the individual stocks are not performing well too. There will be some who are performing extraordinarily. And I had given you even a trade idea. Trade idea, now it's going to be this one, which was Axis Bank. Remember, I'm not going to call this as a hot stock. Let me just call it as Harsh's trade idea, correct? And the trade idea given to you was let us look for an area of entry of around 1180. Remember, it's an area. It will never be a line. It's an area. And our target one is going to be to the opposite side of the swing, which is around. Let me just write the level 1260, 1250. Oh, not at. Around 1250, and target 2 is going to be around 1320. Target 2 around 1320. All right. I hope you all have taken the screenshot. If you haven't taken the screenshot, please do so now. It's very important for you to make sure. Use it as a form of learning. The more you learn, there's a saying in finance, the more you learn, the more you earn. All right. And last but not the least, I had given you a small gist about what cryptocurrency is, and not what cryptocurrency is, but what Bitcoin has been doing. And because again it's created another higher high. Now people are like, now we want to get into. I understand there is a lot of potential. I had given the example of people during the medieval times, of people like our parents, like our grandparents, who have seen the world from their point of view during their time. Everything was analog, everything was physical, mechanical. Now everything is converting into digital. So currencies eventually will be getting converted to digital. There will be no paper system. I mean, even today, as of now, as you can see, people are using cards, debit cards, credit cards. People are using their phones. Apple has Apple Wallet. Samsung has their own Samsung Wallet. So everyone is having this digitalization. But even that is going to go to the next extent when they're going to convert money entirely digital. And that is going to be bonkers. So big plans in the cryptocurrency coming up. We will talk a little bit more about it. I hope you had a great session. I know it's been a little too much of information coming in. Don't worry, I'm going to give you time to soak all the information in, make you understand more better. If you have any recommendations for me, or if you have any kind of feedback for me, do let me know. And I hope you have a great evening. Sorry, it's just morning. So I hope you have a great afternoon, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Remember, today is Friday, tomorrow is Saturday. Many of you will be going out having fun with your friends, with your families, with your boyfriends, with your girlfriends, with your friend circle, with your grandparents. Go and have a great time. All right. I will see you again for the second live streaming session. Until then, have a great day ahead. All right. See ya. Bye bye. Take care.